from Sane Social Media. Welcome to the Rural Success Podcast.
Thank you so much for having me.
It's so good to have you here. Tell us, in a world where social media is so important and where I have, small business clients all the time saying, I just can't get on top of my social media. I know I should be doing it, but I just can't. And some of them are saying, well, I won't. And I know that it's valuable in growing my business, but where do I start?
Mhm.
Talk to us about how you got into this area, why you love it, and how you help other businesses to fill that gap that some of them feel like is, really impossible for them.
Sure. I got into this kind of by accident by another failed business, as a lot of people do,
Mhm.
So, like a lot of people, I became a life coach and I started a business called How to Train Your Children.
Okay, very good.
And
I would
yeah,
sign up
and
for
so
that.
kind of like dealing with toddler tantrums and that kind of stuff.
Okay.
And so along the way, I had to learn how to market that business.
Mm.
And so I did a bunch of courses. I did John Morrow's guest blogging course that was phenomenal. And at the end of that, I was invited to become one of 3 editor instructors on the program, getting other people onto Huffington Post and these sort of big sites.
Cool.
And also, as part of it, I had the opportunity of working 3 days a week with a dental business coach here in Canberra. And I thought, okay, this is a great opportunity to work 3 days a week, get some income, get an insight into what a successful coaching business looks like, and do my own thing as
Mhm.
well. So, and after a few years, I just found myself, I was bringing in all this business for him organically without doing advertising, just doing lots of stuff on social media, writing his content and things. And we were literally getting people phoning up and saying, I've read your content, I've seen your social media, I know you can help me, where do I sign?
Right.
So
Oh
I'm
my
going,
gosh,
okay,
what a dream come true.
this works, right? This works. I'm
Yeah.
doing something right. And then I did some more courses and went, okay, this is really consolidating that I'm doing something right. And then he was getting all of these inquiries, who's doing your social, and he was putting me forward. And so I just ended up with all of these people asking me to do their content creation. And I went, okay, on the one hand, I've got 1,000 people on my email list for How to Train Your Children who
Mhm.
are really engaged, and they're so sweet because they don't understand autoresponders. So they think I'm writing to them individually every week and they're writing back. And then on the other hand, I've got people actually asking me for this other stuff.
Yeah.
So I thought I'll close one down and open the other because it's easier when I don't have to sell because I'm kind of being asked for it.
Yeah.
So that's how that started. And I've just kept learning and learning and learning as we go.
Oh, I love that. And isn't it interesting? So many times in life, especially as small business owners, we get stuck, or we feel like, is this, this seems really hard. Are we headed in the right direction? How lovely that your story includes this beautiful moment where you kind of fell into your calling because there was a market there. They were happy to pay you and you didn't have to do any of that. Like, please, sir, can I have some more? Like, please come and buy from me. That's just, the universe pointing to you and saying, this is it, you're doing the right thing, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I'm not saying there weren't hard days where it's like, okay, we've lost some clients. How do we get some more? Replace that revenue, all of that sort of stuff. There's obviously been a whole learning journey there. There's been challenges personally. There's been challenges professionally. There's been a very interesting. I can tell you one of my biggest challenges, if you like.
Well, that was where I was going to head next, so go for it.
So I had been using a scheduler to
Mhm.
schedule out all of my content for about 18 months, 2 years. And they were on the Facebook partners list as
Okay.
being, okay, qualified. And all of a sudden, one Friday afternoon, of course, everything always hits the fan on Friday afternoon.
Of course.
One Friday afternoon, I'm looking for a post because one of my clients had said, "Oh, that competition we've been running. We want to allocate a winner." And we knew we had hundreds of people who'd commented on this post. Couldn't find it. Couldn't find actually any. When I went digging, I went, hang on. Every post I've ever put out in the last 18 months using that scheduler has disappeared off Facebook.
Ah.
What is going on? And so I found Facebook had pulled their API, which means they could not, pulled their interface.
Yeah.
And there was this Facebook group that had started up, haters of this product. I won't mention the name, but
Gosh.
And everyone's going, there were all these people in there going, my boss is saying, why shouldn't he fire me? I'm bleeding clients. What's going on? So I had a pretty interesting weekend that weekend.
I can't even
um,
imagine.
and then on Monday mornings, I always email all of the people that I help. And so I sent them an email saying, hopefully you've got no idea what's been happening in social media land. Here's
Mhm.
what I know.
Mm.
This is, this has happened. The posts have disappeared. We're being told they will come back. Meanwhile, all of the scheduled content, and I'm scheduling a month in advance, is not going out. So I've spent the weekend researching other schedulers, and I'm now using this one. I've also copied all of your scheduled content out over to the new one so that it's now going to go out. Normally, you have access to see your content. I'm not going to give you access to the new scheduler because I'm not sure if I'm going to stick with it just yet. So that's what's happening. And I got all of these people going, Cate, thank God you've got my back. Thanks for letting us know. Like, I'm just relieved that you're dealing with it. I didn't lose anyone. I actually, gained trust because I told them, what
Transparency.
I knew.
Absolutely.
And at the end of that week, the posts came back. But I mean, I
Oh,
stayed in that group for months and months, and I don't know that system ever got its API reinstated.
yeah.
It offered people 3 months and 3 months, and it must have been a disaster for that business. But it was, if anything, it was kind of good for mine. So, yeah.
I can't even imagine all of that hard work a month in advance, having to move it to another schedule. Like I'm, I hate putting it in one scheduler, let alone moving it to a whole other
Yeah.
one.
Yeah.
Wow. I love that. It's a great story of persistence and transparency and authenticity, because so many others would have felt like they needed in that moment to be like, everything's fine, nothing to see here, and
Yeah.
kind of just trying to band-aid over it. Whereas you were straight up professional, transparent, told everyone what was going on, and gained, loyalty and trust
Yeah.
because of it. Great
It's
business
not
lesson.
easy. Whenever I feel that, I just want to bury my head in the sand and hope this goes away,
Yeah.
I just go, no, I've got to put my big girl pants on and have
Mhm.
a difficult conversation or write a difficult email.
Mhm.
Same with COVID. I was just going, oh my God, what do you mean? What's happening to all these businesses that I'm helping? How are they? So I didn't email them that week. I picked up the phone and I called all of them and I just said, how are you going?
Yeah.
Some of them, like one guy said to me, oh, I'm fine. And I went, okay, tell me how you're really going.
Yeah.
And he just went, I've just had to lay off 2 team members and da, da,
Oh,
da, da, da. And I just said to every single person, I said to them, look, you're this far through this month of the contract. Your contract two. One of them, I had two new retail businesses in Canberra, which is where I am, and they'd signed up for both their retail outlets for 12 months. And I said the same thing to them. I said to them, look, you've just signed up for 12 months. What do you want to do? I can give you my everything for, and see how it goes. Or equally, I just want to put it out there. If you want to pause this, if you want to just leave it, an accountant would say you're insane, right?
yeah. Yeah.
But I mean, I just had people say, look, Cate, if we can just finish at the end of this month and I'll come back to you after COVID, that'd be great. Because no one knew what was going on, right?
No. No.
And some of them were fine, but some of them doubled down and went, right, we're just going to pivot everything online. We need to go hard on marketing and advertising, da da da.
Yep.
And others were like, I just can't deal with that at the moment.
But it's
Yeah.
it's relationship building, right? It's the same thing that you talked about when you sent
Mm-hmm.
the email, being really authentic and saying this is what's happened over the weekend.
Yep.
We sometimes forget that people buy from people. And so the
Mm-hmm.
more we can build relationship, the more we can pick up the phone, the more that we can
Yep.
I just dropped a bag of M&Ms just prior to jumping on with you. I dropped a bag of M&Ms to a client of mine who I've seen like coming in and out for the last month, always with a grumpy look on her face. Like she's just not, and I just have had her in the back of my mind. So this morning I dropped the kids at school and then I called by her workplace and dropped her a bag of M&Ms. She said, "What's this for?" And I said, "Well, I was hoping it was going to make you smile because I haven't seen you smile all month." And she just,
Yep.
unloaded.
Lost it.
Well, this is going on. That's going on. I'm dealing with this. I'm dealing with that. And,
Mm-hmm.
it was 15 minutes of my time and a $3 bag of M&Ms, but it's relationship building. It's connection.
Mm-hmm.
It's these things that
Mm-hmm.
people will stick with us for in business
Mm-hmm.
because it's more than a transaction. And that's
Yep.
that's so important. And that's exactly what you did in reaching out during that really fearful time. I think sometimes we
Mm,
forget how
yeah.
frightening it was, not knowing what was going to happen, not knowing that we were actually going to get to
Yeah.
the other side and everything was going to be okay. But yeah,
Mm,
when we were in the trenches, that was a whole thing.
yeah. Well,
But
that's
tell
one
me,
of the things I love about business though is the people that I help. I tend not to use the term clients too much because I think of them as the people that I help and that I partner with.
mm,
And I mean, I feel for them when they're going through stuff, and I think I can do a better job when I know them, and we can share stuff about what's happening with our teenagers or whatever it is.
yeah,
And there was another one who had a fairly new business. She's an experienced business owner, and she had some terrible, unexpected things happen to her business wise. I won't go into the details, but it could have decimated this new business. It was pretty horrible. And I just got onto Lovely, LVLY. I love
yep,
those guys.
yep,
And I just sent her a little pot plant. I just thought, hopefully this makes you smile and gives you some relief from what you're going through. I know it's not going to fix it, but
yeah, yeah.
yeah,
And it's
it's
and it's those
just,
little moments. That's so much of what we do is piecing together those little moments in order for us to have longevity. I love that. And so,
mhm,
Cate, you were silver winner last year for marketing excellence for the Raw
mhm.
Awards. Talk to us about the awards experience for you. I know you've entered, you know, in the past. Obviously, you've been very successful. What do the awards mean to you? What do they mean to your business? What's the reason that you keep coming back?
Well, I loved I actually got involved first time during COVID.
Love.
And I just love the process and the whole community and the support around being able to enter the awards. So a lot of people get so intimidated by, oh no, I could never enter awards. So I started entering awards sort of under sufferance a few years ago. And so I felt reasonably confident with it, but I just loved that it was such a great fostering sort of environment. And I often say to people, if you want a good place to start, particularly women, because I work with so many women,
Mm-hmm.
I say to them, if you want a good place to start with the Raw Awards, because they just have a lot of help there. And they also have a lot of, the graphics that you can put out and all of that sort of thing. I think it's done so well. So that's why I keep coming back, and I just keep thinking, well, it is done so well. It's so nice. So yeah.
I love that. I just had a coaching session in between the M&Ms and you, and the she was exactly what you just described. She was intimidated. I said to her, it's coming up. It's time to prepare. Get yourself together. And she was like, oh no, 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 no. Oh, I couldn't. Like one excuse after the next. And I said to her, let's just do it as a reflection exercise. Let's just go through the questions and
Hmm.
come up, and you talk and I'll write some notes. And just doing that for her, we had, 15 pages of notes at the end for a couple of different categories. And she was like, oh, I had no idea that we do all of this, and that she
Mm.
said, until I talked it out, I just didn't realize. And that's the part that I really, really love, that reflection part. What have I done? What can I do? Where has my business come from? What has that journey been like? Being able to reflect on that and then have a moment to kind of go, oh, yeah, this is really cool. Because otherwise we're just on a treadmill, right? We just kind of keep
Mm.
going day in, day out, serving our clients, getting from, one point to the next, and we don't often take time to stop and reflect on how far we've come.
Yep. Yep. And the other thing that I found interesting was when I first started doing awards, someone said to me that there's a lot of data out there that shows that you don't have to win. You don't have to win anything. If you become a finalist, for the general public, they sort of see that as being similar to winning.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I just kind of generally, when I write mine, I just go, okay, all I need to do is be a finalist. I don't need to win. I've never actually taken the time and effort to go, okay, I need to get in here
I'm
and
writing
write.
a winning submission. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So there's that. And as soon as I started getting that finalist and using those graphics, like
Mm.
putting them on the bottom of my emails, putting them on the website, putting them where people can see them, I started having things like people contacting me and saying, oh, I don't know if I can afford to work with you. I even started getting better quality content spam. It was just a slightly higher level spam. I just
Yeah.
noticed it. So I kind of
I've never heard anyone use that as a promo to enter before, but your spam will improve if you enter the Raw Awards for 2024.
And the other thing is, it is a learning experience. Like, you can learn about the bits in your business that you've done really well, the bits that maybe you want to work on. So all of those things, it's like, learn the strengths and weaknesses, learn what, oh, maybe I do need to work over there, and how do I keep my team involved, or whatever it is.
Yeah, I love that. Thank you for sharing, Kate, because that's exactly how I feel about it as well. And hopefully, I'm assuming you'll be entering again this year, and
Mhm.
hopefully that finalist status will again be yours. Of course, our judges are independent. That's one of the things about Raw Success that was always really interesting to me, was that the judging is independent. We tell
Mhm.
you who the judges are. It's not kind of just, these mystery people in a dark room
Mm.
under a detective lamp. It's, very much out in the open. The judges give you feedback at the end, so it's really valuable for
Yes.
growing your business. And so I encourage
Yeah, I was
everybody
going to
to
say, the
enter.
feedback is really good, and it's certainly. I mean, I think a lot of people could also be scared of the feedback, but there was nothing scathing about the feedback. It was just, I would have liked to see a bit more of this, or I'd have liked to see that more fleshed out. So it was useful. And
Yeah.
once you've got a draft like that, or once you've got a submission, then looking around at other possible awards that you could enter, you already got a chunk of it kind of written, drafted. Yeah,
Yep. I love that.
yeah,
All right. Are you ready for some rapid fire questions?
sure.
Beautiful. If you had advice to give your younger self, the person who was just starting out in business, what would it be?
Take care of your mental health,
Mm,
because I think the biggest thing between success and failure in business is persistence.
yep.
So if you haven't got persistence or resilience, and you need mental health for that.
Yes. Oh, I
Mm.
love that. Um, I heard a quote on Instagram the other day. I just love quoting Instagram. That said, "Brain and body before business,"
Mm-hmm.
and I was like, "Ooh." Because
Mm-hmm.
when your health lets you down, or when you're feeling fuzzy, or when you're feeling overwhelmed, and when you can't really you can't actually do the things you want to do in your business. Whereas for me, I think I've always prioritized business first, and I was like, oh, brain
Mm-hmm.
and body over business. I'm going to write that down. So I
Mm.
wrote it down and stuck it on my
And it's
bathroom mirror.
really easy to get stuck in that imposter syndrome, to look around at other people.
Mm.
I did a big course early on, and it was a good investment, and it had a massive Facebook group. And I found myself 2 weeks into this 8-week course on the floor, rocking and crying. And
Oh,
my kids coming in and going, Mummy, what's going on? What's wrong? And I'm going, I'm a failure. I'm a failure. I did that for the better part of 2 days.
wow.
And then I started on day 3, and something in my brain went, for Christ's sake, Kate, just get up, work out what the problem is, and fix it. And I worked out that Facebook group. Every time I went in it, everyone was like, massive stories of success. And I knew that they weren't all true, but it was making me feel crap. So I just went, okay, no more Facebook group. I'll do the rest of it.
Yep. Protecting that mental health. Love it.
Yeah.
What's your favorite app on your phone?
Mm, probably Facebook.
What's the last TV show you binged and loved?
I don't really, oh, probably Downton Abbey, because I have really, it's been years since I've binged and loved.
Classic. I could watch
In
Maggie
COVID.
Smith in Downton Abbey all day,
Yeah,
every day. She's just
I
brilliant.
know.
I try
I
to
love
channel
her.
her.
There was an episode of like a show where it had all the dames together, Dame Maggie Smith, and
Judi Dench,
that's the one. And there were 5 or 6 of them. It was just lovely. Yeah,
spectacular.
yeah.
I'll have
But
to
I
look
just
it
used
up.
to think, oh, I'm gonna go and visit Downton Abbey now, and
Yeah,
then go and watch a couple of episodes.
love it. And what excites you about the next part of your journey?
All of the changes, AI, how it
Mhm.
can be harnessed to support people, not to replace people, but to support people.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I love that. Kate from Sane
Mm.
Social Media, have you got anything you would like to tell people about? Where can they find you? What have you got going on at the moment? What would you like to plug? How can people work with you?
So I have really narrowed things down quite substantially. So I really only help dentists and cosmetic clinics. I help them grow and scale. And so we do full digital marketing now. We do website maintenance, we do SEO, because when we're running Facebook ads and doing lead generation and doing all of that nurturing, we really need to not have the website let us down. And
Mm.
often it's like, okay, we're doing this much and they need to make those changes. So so we help them with all of that, with strategy and posting and all of that sort of stuff. So if you know anyone who is a cosmetic clinic who wants to bring in more business, or a dentist, then they can reach me at sanesocialmedia.com.
Everybody's got a dentist. so I can hook you up with. That was one industry that, you know, during COVID, everyone still needed to go to the dentist.
Yep.
So you're very smart. I love that.
Yeah,
I've loved
the
our
poor dentists, poor dentists. My brother-in-law was actually a dentist, and yeah, that was just, it was hard for them. Yep.
yeah. It's been a lovely chat, Cate. Thank you so much for joining us on the Raw Success podcast.
Thank you for having me.